Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wala wilayata li kafirin ala muslimin. And there is no authority for a kafir over a Muslim. Liqawli ta'ala, وَلَا يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. Due to Allah Ta'ala's statement, and Allah Ta'ala did not make for the kafir over the mu'min any part. In other words, they can't have authority over the believer. وَلِهَذَا لَا تُقْبَلُ شَهَادَتُهُ عَلَيْهِ. And for this reason, his testimony against a Muslim will not be accepted. وَلَا يَتَوَارَثَانِ. And they do not inherit from one another. أما الكافر فيثبت له ولاية الإنكاح على ولده الكافر. As of the kafir, then the wilayat of marrying off his own kafir child is established for him. لقوله تعالى والذين كفروا بعضهم أولياء بعض. Due to Allah Ta'ala's statement that those who make kufr, some of them are the friends or the walis of others. ولهذا تقبل شهادته عليه. For this reason, his testimony will be accepted against the next kafir. ويجري بينهما التوارث. And inheritance runs between them. Because they can inherit from one another, they can testify against one another. But a kafir can't testify against a Muslim, so the kafir doesn't have authority over a Muslim. So kafir cannot be a wali over a Muslim girl. ولغير العصبات من الأقارب ولاية التزويج عند أبي حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى. And for other than the asabat from the relatives is the wilayat of marrying off, according to Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi. Ma'nahu in the adamil asabati is meaning when there are no asabat. وهذا استحسان, and this is istihsan. In other words, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah says that one is you get the male relatives, right, which are the asabat. Then you get the other relatives, which are not asabat. Can they marry off the small boy or girl? So Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah said they can, and this is against qiyas, right? Or this is istihsan rather, which has a deeper logic behind it. وقال محمد رحمه الله لا تثبت وهو القياس. Imam Muhammad rahmatullah said it is not established for others, right? And this is qiyas. وهو رواية عن أبي حنيفة. There's also a riwayat from Imam Abu Hanifa. وقول أبي يوسف في ذلك مضطرب. And the call of Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullah in this masla here is confusing. وَالْأَشْهَرُ أَنَّهُ مَعَ مُحَمَّدٍ. And it's more famous that he is what Imam Muhammad. So he is actually what Imam Muhammad here. Although there is other there are riwayats which show that he is what Imam Abu Hanifa, but it's more famous that is what Imam Muhammad. So what's there? And dalil. Lahuma ma rawayna. Their dalil, Sahibain's dalil now, is what we have narrated. What did we narrate? Al-inkahu ila al-asabati. You understand it? The right to marry is to the asabat, right? ولأن الولاية إنما تثبت صونا للقرابة النسبة غير الكفو إليها. And because this authority is established to protect the relative from the attribution of other than kufu to the relative. In other words, why are we giving this authority of marrying off? We're giving that so that these relatives here, these male relatives, right? They can by marrying off the boy or the girl, they are protecting that boy and girl from going on their own and marrying somebody who's not in kufu. So they actually saving their family from somebody which is out of kufu coming into their family. You understand it now? You understood it? So that's actually the reason they've got that authority. Wa ilal asabati as-siyanatu. And this responsibility of protection is to the asabat, the male relatives. They got this responsibility of protecting the family from getting غير kufu attributed to them. ولأبي حنيفة رحمة الله أن الولاية نظرية. Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi dalil is that this authority is one of compassion. والنظر يتحقق بالتفويض إلى من هو المختص بالقرابة الباعثة على الشفقة. And this compassion will be realized by handing it over to the one who is special with being a relative which leads to compassion. So basically what he's saying here is that as long as a person is a relative, he's going to have compassion. Yes, he might have deficient compassion, but he'll still have compassion. And this is a authority, this wilayat comes because of having that compassion, therefore we give it to them also. وَمَنْ لَا وَلِيَّ لَهَا يعني العصبة من جهة القرابة إذا زوجها مولاها الذي أعتقها جاز لأنه آخر العصبات. And whoever doesn't have any wali, right? Meaning male relatives from the side of relationship, when her master marries her off, right? The one who had freed her, that is permissible because he is the last of the asabat. Remember, we get the asabat, we get all the relatives, the male relatives first, and the one right at the end of that is the master who had freed her. He's also got this right, which means he will also inherit also. If there are no asabat, then he also inherits, right? وإذا عدم الأولياء فالولاية إلى الإمام والحاكم لقوله عليه السلام السلطان ولي من لا ولي له. And when there are no walis, right, then the authority of the wilayat, it goes to the imam and the hakim, due to Nabi Karim some statement that the leader is the wali for those who don't have any walis. فإذا غاب الولي ولي الأقرب غيبة منقطعة جاز لمن هو أبعد منه أن يزوج. Right. So when the wali aqrab is absent, who's the wali aqrab? The one who's closer, right? And how is he? How far is he? Ghaibatan munqati'atin. Is absent, such an absence which is cut off. Then it is permissible for the wali who is more distant, who is a further wali, right, to marry off. You understand it? So, for example, maybe the father is absent, right? And he's absent, totally absent. He's around, he's alive, but he's absent. You can't get his opinion. Then the grandfather can marry off. You understand it? فقال زفر لا يجوز. Imam Zufar says not permissible. لأن ولاية الأقرب قائمة, because the wilayat of the closer relative is still existing. لأنها تثبت حقا له صيانة للقرابة, because this wilayat has been established as a right for that waliya akrab to protect the closer relatives, right? فلا تبطل بغيبته, so it will not become batil with him being absent. ولهذا لو زوجها حيث هو جاز, and for this reason, if he marries her off wherever he is, in other words, this wali akrab, but he's very far away now. If he marries her off wherever he is, it is permissible. Imam Zubair say, ولا ولاية للأبعد مع ولايته, and there is no wilayat for the one who's further in a relationship with the wilayat of the akrab. ولنا أن هذه ولاية نظرية. Our dalil is this wilayat is a wilayat of compassion. وليس من النظر التفويض إلى من لا ينتفع برأيه. And it is not from compassion to hand this over to somebody who you cannot benefit with his opinion because he's so far away. You can't get any benefit with his opinion. فَفَوَّضْنَاهُ إِلَى الْأَبْعَدِ. So we have handed it over to the further relative. وَهُوَ مُقَدَّمٌ عَلَى السُّلْطَانِ. And he, the further relative, is preceded over the leader. Right? He's given first more right over the leader. كما إذا مات الأقرب. So it's just as if the أقرب wali had died. Right? So now we have to answer this of Imam Zufar. He says, ولهذا لو زوجها حيث هو جاز, that if he had to marry her off wherever he is, there's a wali akrab, but he's far away, right? Then it's possible. So we say, ولو زوجها حيث هو فيه منع. If he marries her off wherever he is, then we don't accept that masla. In that is a prevention. In other words, we don't accept that masla. That masla is not unanimous amongst us all, right? So you can't use it masla as a backup, right? Nevertheless, وبعد التسليم, right? And after accepting that masla is unanimous, وبعد التسليم نقول للأبعد بعد القرابة وقرب التدبير وللأقرب عكسه. So after accepting that masla is unanimous, we say that for the ab'ad, uh, relative, right? For the abad relative, right, is distance of relationship. In other words, he's the further is a relative who is not so near, right? But he is close to be able to make a plan, tadbir. He is close, qurbut tadbir. He is close in making where they can benefit with his opinion, right? Walil akrabi. And for the akrab relative is the opposite of it. In other words, the akrab relative, he is close in relationship, but he is bu'dut tadbir. He is far to do anything. You understand? He is far in doing anything. So from one angle, you look at he's got bu'd and kurb, and that one's got bu'd and kurb also. فَنَزِلَا مَنْزِلَةَ وَلِيَّيْنِ مُتَسَاوِيَيْنِ. So they both fall in the rank of two equal walis. Because you look the one is got qurb and bu'd, and the other one's also got qurb and bu'd. You understand it? So they like two equal walis now. فَأَيُّهُمَا عَقَدَ نَفَذَ. So whichever one of them do transacts, it will go through. وَلَا يُرَدُّ, and it will not be rejected. Huh? The akrab one. Remember the choice, khiyarul bulugh is only when there's no right of khiyar when the father or the grandfather, right? Only them, right? But here they're just talking of now who's got the authority of bearing them off now because the Wali Akrab is far, he's sitting in Australia and you can't get hold of him. You understand it? So does the Wali Abad living here in South Africa have the right to marry her off or not? So Imam Boniface says yes, Imam Zubair says no. You understand it? And then Imam Boniface says that at the end of the day, what it will mean? That if the one in Australia marries her off first, the transaction will be valid. If the one in South Africa marries her off, his transaction will be valid because they both become like equal. The one's kurbul karabat wa bu'dul tadbir, and the other one is bu'dul karabat wa kurbul tadbir. Leave it till